to that. But yeah, it's pretty. I mean that's another thing. David Miscavige himself, he is the chairman of the board, Religious Technology Center. Per the organizing board of Scientology and all their organizations, RTC is not allowed, and it doesn't contain in any of its duties management functions over Scientology organizations. They're only supposed to police the use of the trademarks and the copyrights. So it even says on RTC's Religious Technology Center's website, RTC holds the ultimate ecclesiastical authority regarding the standard and pure application of L. Ron Hubbard's religious technologies. It says RTC is not part of the management structure of the church, nor is it involved in the church's day-to-day affairs. That's a quote off of their website. While that same quote appears on their website, David Miscavige micromanages every single excruciating detail of international Scientology management on a day-to-day basis, hour-to-hour basis. Nothing goes on without him knowing about it, or him ordering it, or him approving it, or him having something proposed to him. So it's a total scam. He's not supposed to be doing that. That's part of the whole agreement that they got with the IRS, and we're going to have this and that and all these different things set up, and yet he's doing it. And even in David Miscavige was, for some case, there was a deposition done on him in 1990. You can Google it. If you just Google David Miscavige deposition. In that deposition, he states that he's never once studied any courses in Scientology on management or administration. Never. But yet he's the leader of the church, and he oversees all management. So there's so many things that if public Scientologists or parishioners of the Church of Scientology knew the things that went on behind closed doors, they would leave. They would absolutely leave. I mean, there's just no way that all these things can go on and then not be real. Like even the whole thing with disconnection. The church to this day says they do not practice disconnection. This girl,
they do.
This girl, Corinne Powell, the public relations person for Office of Special Affairs, she actually states that they do not break families up; they work to strengthen them. So how is it that I haven't been able to speak to my mother or my sister since 2005 when I was declared a suppressive person? Because they told them not to talk to me. But they don't practice disconnection. And even my wife's parents and her her two sisters and her brother, they live 10 minutes from us. They've never seen their first grandchild or their second grandchild. When my wife gave birth to our first son, I called her mom and said, "We just had a baby boy, your first grandchild." And she stated, "You know we can't talk to you," and hung up. That was how she responded to their first grandchild. But the church doesn't practice disconnection. It's just like one of those things. Like, and the Scientologists, the public Scientologists, they know the church practices disconnection. That's the first thing you learn when you get into Scientology. They make you do a course called the PTS-SP course, which is Potential Trouble Source Suppressive Person course. It basically says that if you're connected to somebody who is against Scientology, then they're a suppressive person, and because you're connected to them, you are a potential trouble source, because you're going to do things and say things that are going to make Scientology look bad because you've got this person in your ear. So they have two handlings. You either handle the person or you disconnect from them. That's it. You learn that. They embed that into your brain on that course, that you either handle them or you disconnect. That's it. So every Scientologist is very well aware that they practice disconnection. It's one of the first things that you learn. So for this woman, Corinne Powell, to actually come out and say they don't practice it, it's just like, how can you do that? How could you possibly say that? It boggles my mind.
Because she's lying. I mean, you know for a fact that she's lying, and
it's a
been
bold-faced lie. There's just no, I mean, there's obviously, there wasn't just a worldwide picket called Reconnection because of some situation that doesn't exist. You know, it's
right.
like one of those things like, so why are there thousands of people all over the world saying they can't speak to their families if you guys don't do this? It's just like one of those things like, how can this be? It just does not make any sense.
Speaking of worldwide protests, what do you think, as somebody who's out now about Anonymous and their tactics and their strategies, and what advice would you have for them to continue putting the pressure on the Church of Scientology?
I think that the Anonymous guys have been doing a great job. I mean, when they first kind of came on the scene, I was very weary of how long it would last. I thought maybe it'll last a month or so. The fact that it's gone on this long, I couldn't be more pleased that what they've done and how they've done it and the way how organized they are. It's amazing that a bunch of people with no identities can do as much and accomplish as much as they've accomplished. And just as a funny side note, in the Sea Org, L. Ron Hubbard basically says that the most optimum state or condition to be in is a condition of like a state of Fabian, which is very mysterious, and you don't know where the person is or where he's going or when he'll be there, and it's kind of like this aura about them. They're very mysterious, and you can't really do anything to the person because they're never anywhere. Whenever you think they're here, they're not. They're over there. And L. Ron Hubbard talks about that in the Sea Org, about how the Sea Org is supposed to be Fabian. And when they were at sea, maybe that was, possible. But more than anything, Anonymous is totally Fabian. They cannot be attacked. The church doesn't know who's running it. They don't know where they're at. If they, find 5 guys and harass them, another 100 show up. If they take down Mark Bunker's YouTube account, another 10 videos go up. It's one of those things like they're grabbing at shadows trying to fight Anonymous. So I think if Anonymous just keeps doing what they're doing and sticks it out, it's absolutely going to make or break Scientology. It's going to take them down faster than any of us could have ever hoped with the things that they're doing. Just the pure word that's being gotten out all over the world on a monthly basis is amazing. So yeah, that's my take.
Your advice is to keep doing what they're doing. You don't see any flaws in general in their strategy. Essentially, keep up the pressure. Keep pushing back, at them and keep reaching out to the media. And would you suggest, I talked to Andreas at Operation, Clambake yesterday, and he said it's really important that we treat them gently because many of these people, as you said, they're afraid, they're scarred, maybe they want to leave, but they don't really know what it's going to be like on the outside world. So, Anonymous isn't known for being warm and fuzzy, but I think they've really tried to tap into that aspect in the sense of, look, if this helps bring down the church, we will we'll sort of change up our strategy and be about as kind and loving as we can, despite being a faceless organization.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that Anonymous has done that's been very good is they've attacked real issues that are tangible, like the disconnection thing and the Lisa McPherson. It's real. It happened. There's some beef to it. So as long as they keep picking things that are absolutely things that are happening, then there's no way they can go wrong. There's no way.
Just keep pushing forward. Don't lose. And that's another thing Andres said was how important it is to not lose focus and to not be discouraged because it could take time. It could take who knows how long. He didn't even want to give a timeline. He just felt that we've had enough things happen